This video is sponsored by Squarespace. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, build your online presence with Squarespace. Hey everyone, I'm Ace of Clay and welcome to another sculpting video. If you're new here, I'm a sculptor and every week I make a new sculpture. So make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so that you don't miss any future videos. Today we're in the hidden world and I'm introducing you to the next character, the Zookeeper. This guy is a mutant and he is quite an interesting character. I will be sharing his entire backstory and lore with you throughout this entire video, so make sure you watch the whole thing so you don't miss any details. And before we get started, speaking of Mutant Universe characters, Otto the Raccoon Guide is my next plush and he is available right now at aceofclay.com. Just like all of my plushes, he is super high quality. He's got fuzzy hair, embroidered details, a little bit of airbrushing on his face, his little bow tie, vest, buttons, flashlight, and he can be yours. Again, just head on over to aceofclay.com and grab yours before he's gone. And speaking of plushes, Winston is almost gone. He is available at the time of uploading this video, but once he's sold out, he is gone forever. And believe it or not, I've actually seen my sold out plushes of the Ice Cream Man and the Seamstress sell for over $100 on eBay. So if you don't want to pay $100 for this after the fact, grab him now while he's still $18.99 on my website. Again, once he is gone forever. All right, now without further ado, let's meet the Zookeeper. All right, let's get started. So this guy is going to be riding an ostrich. We're going to start by making the ostrich's armature. I made that sort of figure 8 shape down there, and I'm just building the ostrich's skeleton from that just so everything is nice and secure and it's all one piece. Now I'm going to start bulking out the base with some aluminum foil. Once that base is looking pretty good, let's start bulking out the ostrich's body. And as I continue making this, the ostrich actually doesn't have a name. I want to save that for you guys, so let me know in the comments what you think I should name him. Now I'm just continuing the bulking process with some Super Sculpey Ultralight, just putting that on the surface of my foil and getting this to the size that I want. Today, we meet the loud and eccentric Zookeeper, one of the more peculiar mutants in the hidden world, a character who stands out against the tapestry of mutant inhabitants. Unlike many of his counterparts who lean towards violence and chaos, the Zookeeper's tale takes a slightly different turn. Once my armature is all set and that ultralight is baked, we're going to start covering everything in our final layer of clay. I want to add a nice even layer to the entire thing, and then I'm going to start detailing the feathers on the ostrich's body. And of course we can't forget the wings. It may be a flightless bird, but it's got some pretty big wings on it. Now for an added detail, here and there I'm going to use some flexible clay to add little wispy feathers sticking out. And let's continue detailing this to get a nice stylized ostrich body. To speed up the texturing process on the underside, because I'm lazy, I am using a scoring tool. And we're just gonna get this thing completely covered in that texture. Using some more flexible clay, let's go ahead and make and detail the ostrich's tail. With his traditional Zookeeper outfit, complete with the weathered hat atop his head, the Zookeeper cut a striking figure as he rode through the bustling city streets on his majestic mutant ostrich. Here I'm just using some more flexible clay on the ostrich's neck, and we're adding some more of that texture, getting everything to blend real nice. Now let's go ahead and start his head. Now to make this ostrich, I wanted to exaggerate the proportions, but when you look at an actual ostrich, their proportions are already pretty exaggerated. They got this huge body, this long neck, and this tiny head. So I'm just gonna run with that and make this funny, cartoony looking ostrich. And since this ostrich is a mutant of sorts, we are going to give him his signature mutant eyes. Once the head is all set, I'm just going to attach it with some Bacon Bond, touch up some texture here and there, and then poke in a bunch of little pieces of floral wire so they look like fuzzy flyaways. Beneath his charming facade lay a cunning mind and a penchant for mischief. The Zookeeper was not a violent man, but rather a master of manipulation, capable of weaving a web of trust around even the most wary of souls. Now let's get started on the Zookeeper's armature. I'm just going to create each side separately and then wrap them together with another piece of wire for his neck, like so. And then we want to make sure that he is positioned properly and looks like he can ride the ostrich. But let's bulk out his chest first. Alright, that'll do. Let's get him in the oven. And while the Zookeeper's armature is baking, I'm going to sculpt the ostrich's legs with some epoxy sculpt. This stuff cures like concrete, so it's great for supporting pieces like the legs here. They're very skinny, so they need to be very strong. Regular polymer clay would probably crack. Even flexible clay wouldn't be able to support the weight of everything, so epoxy sculpt is the way to go. One fateful evening, the Zookeeper spotted his next target, a lone traveler, their pockets heavy with valuables. With a twinkle in his eye and a sly grin on his lips, he approached, his ostrich clucking softly at his side. Now I'm just adding a little snake of clay at the base of each leg right here, where they connect to his body, and we're going to fluff it out and make it blend in with the rest of that texture underneath. And then we're going to set him aside so he can cure overnight. Once our Zookeeper armature is baked, we're going to start covering him in our final layer of clay. Just want to get a nice even sheet over that entire torso. And we're going to work our way down to the legs, starting with the thighs and his butt area, and get everything shaped out, block out my shapes first, and then blend it all together. And once those thighs are done, we're going to go ahead and start adding some folds and wrinkles. He's going to be wearing a nice pair of shorts. "Good evening, my friend," the Zookeeper boomed, his voice carrying over the din of the city. "What brings you to our humble abode?" The traveler, taken aback by the Zookeeper's exuberance, hesitated before replying. "I'm just passing through, looking for a place to rest my weary bones." "Ah, well then, you're in luck," the Zookeeper exclaimed, his smile widening. "Allow me to be your guide through this maze of a city. I know all the best spots." And we're just adding some more folds and wrinkles. I added a piece of his shirt sticking out there so it looks like it's untucked. And then we popped on a collar, and now we are using our super poker to draw the seam down the middle where the buttons will be. let's pop on those tiny buttons. The first one, of course, is going to be a skull, and then we're going to stick on some pockets. I googled Zookeeper outfit for this guy, and I followed this like Party City costume, so I hope that was accurate. And with that, the Zookeeper began to regale the traveler with tales of daring exploits and thrilling adventures, each word dripping with charm and charisma. Before long, the traveler found themselves entranced by his stories, their trust in him growing with every passing moment. After his shoes are done, we're going to go ahead and pop on a nice big skull belt buckle to go on his belt that we also added. And to get this guy ready for another bake, we're going to brush on some clay softener and get him nice and smooth. Get rid of all those fingerprints, make him look real nice. Alright, we're going to take a quick break from our video to talk about our sponsor, Squarespace. Whether you're a big business, a small business, a freelance designer, or sculptor like me, Squarespace has everything you need to showcase your brand, sell your products, and more. I've been using Squarespace for over 5 years now, even before they started sponsoring me, and I could not be happier with my experience. Their products are so streamlined and so easy to use that managing my website, aceofclay.com, is truly a breeze. Some of my favorite features include the portfolios and galleries. In my line of work, I have to show my work to the world, and Squarespace's beautiful portfolios allow me to do just that. I have an online shop where I can sell stickers, plushes, posters, sculpting supplies, and more, and Squarespace makes everything so easy. And I'm not kidding when I say that. I can track my inventory, print shipping labels, I get notifications every time something sells. Everything I need is right there in the platform. You can even sell digital downloads. They really have everything you need to start selling online. And at this day and age, if you're an online business, you've got to have a social media presence, and Squarespace allows you to integrate all of your social media platforms into any page of your website. So if all of this sounds good, head on over to squarespace.com, start a free trial, and when you're ready to launch your website, go to squarespace.com/aceofclay to save 10% on your purchase of a website or domain using my code aceofclay. Alright, now let's sculpt his head. Using an aluminum foil core, I covered that in clay, and now I'm shaping out the facial features, starting with the eye sockets and brows. I'm going to make him look like he's raising one eyebrow, so we're adding the raised one first, and then we'll go in and add the lowered one. This guy is going to be very human looking for a mutant. Normally I exaggerate the features more, but I want this guy to be really normal because I want you to be able to talk to him. Just like if you're listening to the story, I want him to look approachable kind of thing, so let's keep him normal looking. And then, when the time was just right, the Zookeeper struck. With a swift motion, he deftly lifted the traveler's belongings from their pockets, his fingers dancing over the shiny gold skull buckle of his belt. Alright, let's get his nose on. Let's pop in his eyes. Now what really starts bringing this guy together are his eyebrows. Let's go ahead and add those. Now for some ears. Realizing they had been duped, the traveler turned to confront the zookeeper, but he was already mounting his ostrich, a triumphant smirk playing on his lips. Now we're just adding his beard. I added another piece of clay there, shaped it out, and now I'm texturing it with my super poker. And now for a nice dapper mustache to go with the beard. He kind of looked like Abraham Lincoln before I added the stash. Using a flat sheet of clay, we're going to go ahead and add the hair to the back of his head. Now for some nice hair in the front. I'm not going to put any on the very top of his head because he's going to be wearing a hat and I don't want extra hair to push the hat off more than it needs to be. And pretty much all the footage of me sculpting his hat was either extremely out of focus or out of frame. I'm sorry, when I get really into what I'm doing, I completely forget that I'm recording. Now let's sit him on the ostrich and start positioning his arms so we can sculpt them. "Farewell, my friend," the zookeeper called out, his voice echoing through the empty streets as he rode off into the night, leaving the traveler alone and bewildered. For an extra detail, let's add a little watch. Now let's attach his head with some bacon bond and then brush the surface with clay softener to remove fingerprints and make him look perfect so he can bake one final time. Alright, once everything is baked, cured, and cooled down, it's time for paint. I started by giving this ostrich a nice gray primer coat, and now we're going in and airbrushing on all of the black. I'm going to block out all of the base colors on this guy and then go in later with a paintbrush to tighten everything up and add detail. Now let's go in with our brush and the same airbrush paints and add a little feathery texture to all of the feathers. Now let's detail the head. And so, the zookeeper's legend continued to grow, His exploits whispered in hushed tones among the denizens of the hidden world, for he was not just a mutant with a knack for deception, he was a master of the con, a trickster without equal, and woe betide anyone who dared cross his path. And that's the Zookeeper. Now, to avoid overspray on the feet, I'm just going around them carefully with a paintbrush and getting that all blacked out, and then we'll go in and airbrush the rest of the base black too. To add some more dimension, I'm throwing in a little bit of brown and purple. And now for the man of the hour. Let's start by airbrushing all of his skin. And being super careful, we're just going to block out all this guy's colors, including his beard. We get a little bit of overspray, but we tighten it up later on. And I also need to invest in a real airbrushing cove because this cardboard box looks like crap. Once all the main colors are blacked out, let's go in with a paintbrush, just like with the ostrich, and tighten everything up. And I want him to be very beigey, almost like he's sepia tone. So that's why everything's like brown on brown on brown. And as much as I'd like to use the nude painting techniques that I've been using on this guy, I want to keep him looking like the rest of the Hidden World characters, so we're going to do a little bit of dry brushing and antiquing too. And let's go in and paint that scar under his eye. I like to think that this was when he was capturing his ostrich and the ostrich like fought him a little bit before he was able to become his pet. So the ostrich was just like ticked off and was like, no, I don't want to go with you, but look where we are now. And we're just going in with some dry brushing and shadows here and there, getting this guy looking real nice. And we're just gonna paint the rocks on the base and then get our guy sitting on top. And I do attach him fully with some JB Weld. All right, he's looking good. Say it with me. And he's done. The Zookeeper is complete. Let me know what you think of him in the comments. So this is a pretty random sculpture, I'm not gonna lie. I actually thought of the ostrich idea randomly one day and I was like, I'm gonna make a character that rides an ostrich. And that's how we ended up here today. And I built the whole story around him. I think he turned out super cool. He was definitely a challenge, but a fun challenge. We didn't run into too many hiccups. And I'm really proud of this guy, and I really hope you enjoyed watching me make him. And as always, thank you so much for watching and being here. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok at Ace of Clay, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.